Welcome to Squirrel, the podcast for distracted writers, hosted by Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Squirrel. I'm Candy.
And I'm Jody.
And today, we're talking about current trends in romance. Because we're still in Cupid season, we're like wrapping it up. So I think this is just a nice, appropriate way to look at the romance trends that have been happening for the last, for a while, how it's been building or how it's changed. That's what we're going to talk about.
Well, and it's not new that romance has been the top-selling genre. Like, that's been consistently the case for decades now, that romance is the top-selling genre because people love these human connection stories. And they also like the sensational bits as well.
Yes.
They are deeply entertaining.
Okay.
If you like them. I don't actually seek out romance books to read as a rule because I need story. I need really good story.
Yeah.
And if it's just two people, that's my neurospiciness being like, I need more.
Yeah.
There's not enough if it's just a story about two people just fighting to figure out how to love each other.
Well, and that's kind of my problem right now because I write romantic comedy. I like writing these stories because they're easy and I can whip it out really fast. And but writing romantic comedy is it's different than writing romance. There's so many subgenres.
Oh, absolutely.
To it. And I like to write more adventure than romance, as you said. So even my romantic comedy is adventure driven. It's not really the romance driven because I like the cliffhangers. I'm not very good at writing the sexy stuff. So anyway, have you noticed there being a shift in romance recently?
I think there's been a couple things that are really interesting to see. And the hugest one is the rise of romantasy in these doorstop-sized books.
Yes.
Like these massive bricks of books that it's a fantasy book, but it is wrapped around the romance as the most important element.
Yes.
And I have so many feelings about these.
I do too. Let's not get to it yet. I don't like the word romantasy. I'm going to put that out there right now. However, if it keeps if you want to tag a genre as romantasy and keep it away from my fantasy, that's great. Because I can't write romantasy. I'm afraid that I'm going to lose my audience because I think that they're going to expect me to write something like that. I can't. So I'm a little worried about my genre, honestly, because of that. But I got off topic. You made me go off topic.
That was my bad.
No, okay.
I think what we should talk about more is do we feel like there has been more romance readers in general than there have been in the past? And if there's something we should blame that on?
Yes, the pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, we can blame the pandemic. I have a couple of stats I found that are interesting because if you think of a romance writer, who do you think of?
Wow, just a straight up romance writer?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
You're asking someone who doesn't strictly read romance. That's just mean.
Okay, yeah, that's true. I'm going to call out Colleen Hoover.
Okay,
so
fair.
I like to
Nicholas
read...
Sparks. See, I can name one.
Oh, but Nicholas Sparks
He has
doesn't
really
write
bad
romance.
endings.
He doesn't write romance.
It's romantic
Colleen
drama?
Hoover writes romance. If you want something spicy, that's where you're gonna go. Is her novels. Her growth. This is from 2022 to 2023 was 316%.
That's a dramatic
That
growth.
is a huge number. So she goes from selling, let's say, just a handful of books to covering the world with these books. So I don't read Colleen Hoover. I don't know actually much about her. I do read Emily Henry. I like Emily Henry because she's funny. She does things like that are quirky writer driven. Like there's the character as a writer or owns a bookstore or something like that. So I like the connection. It's funny.
Well, it's definitely more relatable to you. I can.
Yes. And like, yeah, there's scores of romantic comedy going up as well. And that happened a lot because of the pandemic, because people needed something to cheer for. They looked for something that would make them feel better.
Well, I think a lot of people were craving human connection, and they were in a position where it was impossible to do so because everyone was isolating. At least the majority of people were being forced to isolate. And there was a giant rise in Kindle books as well, because going and getting physical books got harder.
And what's funny about this, finding more statistics, is that what sells more now is physical copies than ebooks. Isn't that funny?
So I haven't looked at the current statistics, but I think there are more readers per capita than there were 5 years ago, because a lot of people fell in love again with reading a fiction book that was both entertaining and enlightening and just swept them away for a while. And so I think this is awesome. I would love the world to be full of more readers.
Well, and the other thing is the graduation of YA readers. Also, there's a lot more hands-on physical copy reading people that are in the younger generation. So they like having books. The
Harry Potter and the Twilight kids.
Well, we're all grown up now.
With reading. We're adults now. We're all in our 40s, and it's that nostalgia of going back to this experience that was so magical, but in more adult topics.
But if you look at like the TikTok trends of people flipping through their books or showing their shelves or color coding it, they all have those physical books. Oh, look at my favorite books that I've read in the last, week, and there's 10 of them. They're physical books. People like that. And I'm so glad to have that trend of people going to brick and mortar stores or buying physical books, because I personally like them better than ebooks, but ebooks are just so
economical for starters.
And
also
they
if
can
you don't
hide
have a lot
what
of
you're
space,
reading. Like if you're at a doctor's office and you want to read a Colleen Hoover like book,
you're not going to raise any eyebrows.
No, you're just going to okay, I'm just going to slip through this part while my kid's at the doctor's, and no one's going to question you at all about what you're reading.
Well, and this will tie into a discussion we're going to have in just a little bit about how romance covers have changed. But I think first we need to talk about, in the romance genre itself, what are we seeing more of other than romantasy that we all can kind of cheer about? Because there's some things that I'm loving seeing more of. That's not just the stereotypical romance books, but it's diving into more representation.
Yeah, definitely. And we can talk about diversity.
Absolutely.
Because there's a lot more. If you look at the romance writers, 80% of them are white women who write. They're the writers. So having the other part of Black writers or any other ethnicity writing about characters like them, it's refreshing to see. It's exploding, seeing all the different diversity.
Well, and there's people out there craving books that have characters that they can relate to. And so there's curvy girl romance.
Yes.
Which I love, because I don't want my main character to be someone I'm clearly this is some model. I do not identify with this.
Everyone that I read, all of their characters are 5'4", which is exactly what I am. I'm and this small petite thing that, I don't know, should probably eat another sandwich or something. So I'm glad that they have more curvy girls.
Just real bodies.
Yes.
Real people with real bodies. And also, this includes the alt community, where we're getting more voices writing about not just hetero romances, but we're seeing all different flavors of these couples coming together and being celebrated. And I think that is going to make it more comfortable. If you've never been exposed to any of that before, I'm sure it's going to be wow, what is this? Mm-hmm. But the more it can enter into our fiction, the more it can enter into the general population, the more accepting and empathetic people can be, which I always cheer for, because everyone deserves to have respect and understanding.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes it doesn't even need to be the main characters. I've seen it just as adding that kind of relationship within novels, just in general, which is fun, which is, I applaud. So I also like that diversity is happening within historical fiction as well. So a la Bridgerton, let's say, where they have this, it doesn't need to necessarily be all English white people. It can be just all over the place, with representing the 1800 or 1900s in these different roles that they never got a chance to do. So I'm enjoying that too. All right, we're at the romantasy part.
We are. I do think we covered that, but I have seen, like, every time I get onto Book Talk, I'm guaranteed to see the same authors with the same titles, and they're all romantasy authors. Is this going to go away anytime soon? Absolutely
I don't
not.
think so.
Because
No.
it's found, I think it's picking up on our former Twilight readers.
Exactly.
It is the next step in their evolution of reading, where you have these long dramas that have these romantic elements, but also have enough plot and story to make it work.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. One thing when I was reading Sarah J. Maas is just her world building is incredible. It's just brilliant. So she has very complicated story structure and adds in these elements of romance that are pretty breathtaking if you haven't gotten to any of those. But there's like everything. I think the other thing is people that didn't read fantasy before are now reading it because they know it's steamy, because they're said, oh no, you should read this. Oh, because, book 2 is amazing. You should read that,
Yeah, it's bridging the gap. It's cross-genre.
Yeah, exactly.
So now we have romance readers falling in love with fantasy. And I can only hope that there's a trickle-down effect there where once they're like, I do like these elements. What about books that are just these elements?
Yeah. Again, that's one of my worries is, will they expect, if they're going into fantasy, being exposed to that specifically as your first take and then moving into other fantasy and expecting the same kind of steam, you probably won't get it. Like, I know that YA genre, like YA fantasy is huge and it's not extremely steamy. So anything...
No, but it is slowly getting steamier, which is an interesting evolution.
Yeah. I also wanted to point out another genre that's really hitting is the British romance. And I only say that because I am a sucker for it.
You keep talking about it like it is.
I just find I think that the books that I have liked there's a track for it. And so they keep on sending me, you'll probably like this book if you like this book. And so I fall into these, let's read this other cute British romance. It happens in London or whatever. I just, because I'm fascinated specifically with the culture of anything English or British or I don't know, all over there, Europe in general, I'm just fascinated by. So because it's taking me away from here, it's almost like a fantasy because I don't know anything about, that culture over there. So I'm really enjoying the British romances, and they tend to be not specifically very steamy. It's more of a candid cuteness. Or the Flat Share I read by Beth O'Leary, super cute, so much fun. That is just, maybe a palate cleanser. One of those simple, I don't know, I'm totally squirreling. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore.
I want to know what monster rom-coms are. Are we talking like vampires in love?
Let's talk about other things in love. Yeah, like trolls or ogres.
I saw orcs. I've seen more and more orcs in love covers, which is surprising.
Well, what's that coffee one? Oh, no, I don't even remember. You know what I'm talking about, though. It has the 2 orcs on it, and they're having coffee. Bards. It's got bee numbers. Help me out, audience. Who is this?
Yeah, we can't crowdsource when they're not technically here.
No, but it's specific. So anyway.
And according to some of the other statistics I was looking at, we're seeing a surge in sports romance as well, specifically hockey.
Why?
I'm not entirely sure, but that is a thing that people are seeing more and more of.
Okay. Yeah, when you put down sports romance, I had no idea what you were talking about.
It's generally a sports player and, somebody who's... Okay, that sounds lame when you explain it like that.
Sports. Someone who's
A sportsman and their romantic partner.
Let's see. Ogre romance.
That's going to be something.
Legends and lattes.
That has no B's in it whatsoever.
No. Maybe the second one does. By Travis Baldry.
That better go in the blog.
Legends and lattes. It's a huge book right now.
That's
so it's
funny.
It looks so cute. Like a play on the romance, but it's like D&D characters. I think it's just cute. So
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we do need to have a cover discussion because I think in the last 5 years, and specifically like in the last 2, there's been this massive shift in the way romantic covers look.
Yes.
It's big.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons, well, I mean, it's just not your grandma's romance.
No, it's not your mom's either.
Yeah, so all the, I don't know, the shirtless guys and the bosomy
the corseted Fabios. Wait, he wasn't corseted.
And like, I don't even know.
The damsel that's kind of drooping and wilting in the man's arms.
Leaning against, I don't know. I don't even know.
Like,
yeah.
It's all like very art now. Like object oriented or like abstract even. Like really bright color, like these vibrant reds. Mm-hmm. Like the whole ACOTAR series, all of those colors have these extremely vibrant colors.
Yeah, the paperbacks are like
TikTok
very
orange,
fun,
like crazy bright.
Yeah,
like they stand out on the shelf, which might have been a deliberate choice.
Oh, I absolutely know it was. What a brilliant marketing distraction!
Oh yeah,
in order to get people to pick up those books.
Well, and because traditionally fantasies covers tend to be a little on the darker side. Like,
it's
just
all about the art.
More contrast and more like physically dark.
Mm-hmm.
But having it be like these eye-burning colors, it's like, pick me up. I'm like, yes, I will. But now what is
stand
this?
out on any of your shelf. You can't even put them in a rainbow color anymore because creamsicle orange doesn't go anywhere on your shelf.
You have to make a neon section, but just for the neon ones.
Yeah. Exactly. There's been like the romantic comedy has gone very cartoony, very flat cartoons as well.
Well, it's like the illustrations themselves
of people,
are very minimal.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've seen that all over the place. The sports romances have a lot of this just very minimal illustration to them.
Yeah. So, and it makes it cute. Like, what was it? The Love Hypothesis. I mean, it's just like this. It's just cartoony,
very pastel. A lot of pastel.
They're happy. They make it look very happy and joyful,
like Easter basket colors. It's very much. Yeah, it's super interesting to see that. And my theory is, and I haven't been able to back this up, but my theory is that romance writers want people to be more comfortable reading their works in public. And if you had a book that had Fabio on the front and some corseted damsel, like those are the ones that you would shove under the bed and you'd read in the privacy of your own room, or, bringing that to a coffee shop would be really uncomfortable.
Yeah, well, and they've become cliche as well. I would add...
Well, it's almost distasteful. Like, it's like those are the tacky romances. We want the really sophisticated romances. Have they changed? No, it's just the covers. But
I feel that there is a specific emotion tied to each of those, to book covers in general. You say fantasy are usually dark because there is a specific feeling tied to it. So we're looking at these romances and they're very cheery. They have very bright colors. The very, the cute art that's on it. It automatically gives you a sense of joy. It gives you an expectation of what this book is going to be.
Which is why having ACOTAR and super happy bright colors is weird. A bit of a divorce.
It's weird.
Because the story is not happy or bright or cheery by any stretch of the imagination.
Nope. So that's what I kind of think about covers.
But I think there's a world of opportunity for writers who think that they might want to explore writing a romantic topic, or perhaps writing a clean romance, or a sports romance, or a monster romance. I mean, so many flavors to choose from. Like, if you think that you have something fun to say and there's something in that genre that you're like, oh, that's a good match. Romance readers are huge readers. Yeah. Like, they read 2 and 3 and 8 and 12 books a week.
Yeah.
And they are just starving for new, fresh, fun things to read. And they don't care if they jump authors. Like, they just want a good story.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of opportunity for those who are like, I think I kind of like this idea.
Yeah. I find a romantic comedy is extremely fun to read. And I like reading it. There wasn't much of this 10 years ago. I don't even know. I didn't see it. So the cute covers and making them a lot more fun. I never imagined myself reading a book with a shirtless guy. That's just, I would never gravitate to that. But these other fun covers are, you know, I like to read it. I did realize, though, I am not a romantasy reader for sure. It's just too much for me.
I think I need to find the right author, because there's some I feel that are going to hit that particular itch that I like better.
Yeah.
And I think that's true with any series and any author. Like, it's not going to land with everybody.
Yeah.
So I had the same feeling with some of the romantasy, where it's just like, this is not hitting the itch I want it to.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. But it's definitely the not your mother's fantasy and not your mother's romance. These aren't books that get shoved under the bed and are the pulpy trade paperbacks that like the spines are all broken out and they're covered in dust. And Did I find like 40 books under my mom's bed?
Did you?
When we were cleaning things up? I absolutely did. I knew they were there.
Oh my gosh.
Still makes me smile though.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Opportunity. I think there's opportunity everywhere. Okay. That's I think it's a fun genre. I think I see myself possibly reading more of it just because it has now entered something that I'm more interested in.
Yes.
So I would love to see what happens with it, because it's interesting.
You got my final thoughts there already.
There we go.
All good. So, okay, tell me, Jody, what is our next episode?
I have no idea, because we haven't picked it yet. It's going to be a surprise.
Yeah, maybe we'll put it out to our patrons and say, hey, what should we talk about? Because we don't have an idea of what we're going to talk about. But
it's our first one in March, so I do have a few ideas.
Okay, very good. Well, I can't wait to hear them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Please make sure that you like all of our stuff and spread the word around. You can find us everywhere. We've got our Patreon and we've got our Buy Us a Coffee, and that's all on our website. And please, guys, read our blog. It's so fun. And they'll give you a little bit more insight of what we're talking about, links that we're saying that, of books that we might recommend. So yeah, find us. There you go.
Absolutely. It's been a treat.
Yes. Are you going to read all the books now? That
I have a TBR list the size of a small planet. So possibly.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you for listening to the Squirrel Podcast for the Distracted Writer with Candace J. Thomas and Jody L. Milner. Please like and subscribe to our podcast for updates and new episodes, and find more information at our website, squirrelpodcast.com. Stay distracted, everyone.
Wow, I sound froggy today. Sorry. I'm like...
You need your peppermint tea.
I know, but I don't dare bring it anywhere close to anything over here.
You shouldn't.
I won't. Because I will be lynched. And staying on good terms with the studio man is important.
Yes, the manager.